Day 2, rain. Keith and I are going out this morning with hopes that we don't get washed away. It's pretty much 100% rain until noon, so we're not really sure what to expect. The only thing that we do know is it's going to be quiet getting in. Yesterday, Ben and I got under those birds in crunchier conditions, so we're going to try to do the same thing this morning, but try to get a little bit further up the ditch. The spot where we're going is where all the ridges kind of play out and meet down the creek bottom, and those turkeys were just using those spots to kind of cross back and forth, more towards where he went to yesterday. Those turkeys were spending time right between those two clear cuts pretty much all morning, so we're gonna go in there with hopes that they're roosted there and just be in a little bit better position than what we were in yesterday. Maybe also just walk around and look for tracks.
Stay mobile, because it's not going to be fun to
just
be sitting down in this stuff. Yeah.
There's a couple open areas where it's just kind of reclaim, and there's, I don't know, what is all that stuff out there?
It's just like awful soil, so nothing grows. So it's just stripped autumn olive and clover, pretty much.
Yeah, which isn't bad for a food source. I mean, they'll probably go out there. I mean, we've seen in the past that they go out in some of those reclaim areas and just strut. I don't know how much gobbling we're going to hear on a day like today. It's not super ideal conditions for gobbling, but I also have had hunts out here where it's been pouring down rain and had toms come running in, so who knows? Hey.
Not going to get them from home.
We're either going to get one or we're not.
That's the rule.
Since it was raining this morning, Keith and I were able to sneak in here. And as we were about 50 yards from where I wanted to set up, I looked up in the tree. I could see a turkey. It looks like a big turkey, and it looks like it's asleep still. Its head's still tucked under its wing. I can see it from my angle, but Keith can't. And the turkey is only 30 or 40 yards away. We put this decoy out. That way if we feel like we have to call, there's some sort of visual right there. It sure looks like a tom to me. I can't see a beard, but the way the bird is situated up there, it sure looks like a big turkey. I think we have a good enough setup to pull it off, so I'm just gonna be patient and hopefully it flies down before the cameras get too wet. Just moving around up there. It's a tom dude for sure. It's getting ready to fly down, Keith. Getting ready to go. you kidding me, dude? Flew right to the decoy, Keith. What are you What time is it? It's real life. It's like 6:20. This is real life. I don't know what to do. Dude, can you even believe that just happened, dude?
6:31.
We're right. We got to right here. And I could see that guy. I think he was in that tree right there.
No, I think he was over here. Because I couldn't see him too well.
No, he was right there.
Yeah.
'Cause he wasn't even in a big tree. He was just on that one horizontal limb. Flew right down. And we got an Ohio tom. That is so awesome, dude. You know, I've only ever shot, of all the years that I hunted back here, I've only ever shot one other bird right off the roost like that.
Yeah.
Yep. 5 years ago yesterday
Really?
was the only one, yep. Dude, how wild is that? Just a rainy day bird. He's got some pretty decent spurs on him, dude. He was good enough. I bet he's long enough too. Just a rainy day tom. Dude, that is so sweet. We came in here this morning with the expectation of just getting washed out, really. I mean, this morning it had a 100% chance of rain. It was gonna rain all morning, but we decided to come in here because this is actually the last place I heard that bird yesterday morning. Right down below here is where I was set up in the last setup. And the bird we were on yesterday was roosted just across the valley. I'm guessing it's probably the same turkey. But what we were gonna do is we were gonna get down on this bench right below where we are. But we were walking in and it was still perfectly pitch black. Rain on the ground, leaves are wet. And I look up in that tree and that tom is sitting there asleep. I can see a body with my binoculars. So we just went to the first tree that we could. Dude, looking at that setup now.
Oh, yeah, dude.
No way.
Yeah.
Put that decoy out, never even called, just let the decoy do the work. He saw it, flew to right there, could hear him drumming, and then he went right up to that decoy. Second day of season.
I wasn't even worried at this point. I was like, this is it.
Ow! Dude, it's so crazy. The day that we could go together, we're like, it's gonna rain all day. We're just like, we'll just hunt from the car, which you can't do here.
I'll glass him, we'll see him, we'll get him.
Yeah, we'll glass them up here in the big timber. Man, this is, walk over here with me. Let me show you something. So, I remember seeing those deer droppings,
Yeah.
and being like, well, you know, deer probably are walking up in here at night, going and feeding out in these clear cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, there are probably deer coming through here all the time. If birds are roosted right there, we probably won't affect them.
I think it's enough rain too.
Yep, just wet
Stay
enough.
here for long.
Oh yeah. So right down here is where I made my last setup. You can see there's a bench down there. And the reason I set up there is because I was actually across the valley over here and I heard a bird gobbling right down there. I made the move and got up here, lost him, he stopped gobbling, moved off. But this morning my plan was to come in here, the last place I heard him, because this is where these birds have been the last 3 days. They never really left this area, and it's because it's got all those things that they need. Get the big open hardwoods here, across the valley. They've got a clear cut over there. They've got a clear cut over there, and right on the edges of these big hardwood ridges, there's some cuts that are a little bit older. So I think Ben was saying those cuts he guessed to be, I want to say they were 20 years old. You've got open hardwoods, clear cut, creek bottom, and a little bit younger forest as well.
That's where these turkeys were hanging. We knew that we had a decent chance. If we got in here, this is a spot that didn't have a lot of pressure. So when we only saw one truck here and never heard him shoot all morning, we figured that there wasn't gonna be a lot of pressure back here. Came back in here today, nobody's parked here. Rainy, awful conditions. And that guy flies right to us.
It's that easy.
It's that easy. Some days it is that easy. I guess if there's one thing that I feel like I've learned this year about walking in on birds in the roost, always be looking up in the tree. You know, all these trees are skylined right there, so you can look and see those big blobs. If you see a big blob, glass it, see if it's a turkey or not, and if it is, just set up. Keith and I got lucky this morning, and our setup was just about perfect. I'll show that to you real quick. As soon as we saw the bird, I put that decoy out. And he was right up there. So we snuck back here just extra quiet, barely moving, but it was still plenty dark. So he was about 30 yards up there. Keith and I got next to the split tree. Keith got right in between them, put the camera tripod between those trees, and I got my back right up against this biggest tree here. And he had no idea we were there. I mean, I shot him at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11 and a half. So if you can get against a big tree like that, it's worthwhile.
A clump of trees.
I mean,
like that
he
was
had,
perfect.
it couldn't have worked out any better. That's awesome, man. Cool, Dad. Hair tie use again. Well, that's apparently what happens when they get a little too close to the 20 gauge. Never hit one that hard before, but I guess that's what happens when they come into about 11 steps. Well, it's a little bit before 9 o'clock, and Keith and I are going to go back out. What time do you have class?
12:30.
So we've got a little bit of time here. We're going to try to run out and just kind of poke around, not get too serious. I don't know how much we're going to be able to get out. It's raining pretty good right now, but we got a couple places in mind where we've seen birds in the past during rain. There's some reclaim areas where there's kind of some open spots. Rainy days, they tend to go out there and strut, and a lot of people aren't hunting. Generally, these places are pretty easy to get to, but a lot of times on these days, nobody's hunting, and the birds seem to feel pretty comfortable going out there. So we're just gonna kind of poke around, maybe do some glass, and maybe do a little bit of walking, but just gonna play it by ear. This rain's pretty weird. It's kind of been, you know, slow 1 minute and then raining pretty good the next. So we're gonna give it a go here before Keith has to go back to class. Got it.
Well, it's going on 10 o'clock right now. We just got back from town from capturing some footage from Zach's kill this morning. And we're heading out. Rain's picking up, so we decided we don't really want to sit down and make a setup. So we're walking the edge of this big bowl. It's just clover and autumn olive back there. So we're expecting a lot of the birds are going to be staging up on these roads up here, strutting, gobbling, whatever they want to do if they lose hens. And we're just going to do some run and gun stuff, call. We have probably about an hour and a half to hunt, not a ton of time. So we're just going to run the edge of this bowl and then just get back to the car and head out.
Just gonna try mouth calling. That slate's getting wet.
Yeah.
Like that. Gotta get up here to this bend. Yeah. We still rolling?
Yeah, it's rolling.
There's a couple birds. We made a setup right here, dude.
You think that you want to get into this bowl?
I'm afraid they're gonna see us if we go too far. They're not very far.
Yeah. You know, they should get on the road. Think we can pull them onto the road?
I think we can pull them right to here.
Yeah.
Here, let's get that jig set up. Go. Put it right here. Right here. They're coming, kid. Okay, where? Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. I'm on. Stay right there. Dude, Keith. Dude, we did it again. Are you kidding me, dude? What? What just happened? Yes, dude. Are you kidding me, dude? You've got to be kidding me. What?
I did not think that was ever gonna work like that, dude. I did not think it was ever
We
gonna
didn't
work.
have to do anything, dude.
No. Dude, he's a big sucker, too. Look at those spurs on him.
First time, dude.
Yes, man. Dude, look at the beard on him. No way. Dude, that is seriously crazy. Awesome, man. 2 in the rain today.
Dude. Oh my god.
That guy.
We might just get on him, dude.
That guy back there just complaining about it being rainy.
And they're just hammering right now.
Just nailing it. Seriously, got this decoy set up.
And you called once and they were on the road,
Yeah.
probably like 70 yards away. Once they didn't gobble, I was like, I heard they're coming in.
Yeah.
And they were just like,
I can't even believe 2 in one day has never happened to me here, ever. That is unbelievable. That is just straight up unbelievable, dude.
just a real pretty rain bird.
That is hilarious.
Well,
Rain doesn't stop us.
good. That's awesome, man. We came out today just as on a whim, kind of. We were like, well, we got a little bit of time before class.
We're gonna get washed away, but like,
Went for it.
yeah, everything we did was the right thing.
This spot is a spot that, this is actually the area that we hunted whole bunch when we were younger.
We're familiar with it.
Yeah, we're really familiar with this. Actually, Keith shot his first turkey last year, just, I don't know, a quarter mile away.
It's like the next ridge over,
Yep. We've noticed in the past that these turkeys really like to go out towards those big open areas. They're just reclaim areas with like clover growing up in them, just lower grass, and when it's raining, they like to hang close to those. They'll pop out in there, strut, and that's kind of what our whole strategy was. A lot of times when it's raining, nobody's out, nobody else is out.
We saw one guy up there, and he said he was just driving around because he didn't want to be out in it. But
yep. What we were doing is we were just walking the top of this road up on the high points, calling, and we got to this specific spot, and there's a saddle right here. And we didn't call when we were up on top, and I'm glad we didn't now. We decided to come all the way down here to where we thought the turkeys would be. A lot of times where these saddles are, it kind of drops down behind us here, and there's two secondaries that go out this way. And right where those meet the main ridge, there's this little saddle here. A lot of times those turkeys will be down on the benches there, and that's why we waited to call. And like I said, I'm sure glad we did, because when we called, they gobbled right out on that point.
Close.
Yeah. And we thought about moving closer, because a lot of times you can get pretty close with this terrain, but we decided to bail, sit back.
The right call. They were, first time you called, they were like, they had closed probably 30 yards already, because first time they gobbled probably 100 yards off that. So
they saw that decoy, and it didn't take long. They came running.
We saw their white heads, and they were at the end of that and just like sprinting coming in. I was like, yep, here it is. And they were on the decoy.
But the main thing is being up on high points and really using that terrain to your advantage. We knew that these turkeys would likely be in these little valleys close to these open areas. When it's raining, they don't want to strut. Obviously, their wet feathers just get soaking wet.
They stay dry.
So we got up here, called, got them to gobble, and didn't go too far. We almost did. I definitely have a tendency to get aggressive, but we'd noticed they were gobbling a lot. I just kept on them with the call.
Yeah.
As soon as they gobbled, we just kept calling. Even as we were setting up, I was calling, pulling, trying to pull them away.
Well, especially because we only had 1 more hour to hunt.
Yep.
So we definitely thought about being aggressive, because after that hour, we can't chase them anymore. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, we had a blast today. 2 birds in one day, just absolutely miserable weather. Like, it is just terrible. Luckily, Ben has that rain cover for that camp.
Yeah, because we probably wouldn't have come.
We wouldn't have been able to come out. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pouring rain. When we struck these birds up, it is raining. Just, I guess it's not pouring.
Yeah, but it's consistent. Yeah, like I'm soaked.
Yes,
so,
I'm soaked as well. Keeps people out of the woods, and it gets us in the woods.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't keep the turkeys out of the woods.
It sure doesn't. But Keith's got to get to class, right?
We gotta get back. We gotta get dry too.
Yes.
So
Got to get back, got to get dry. But man, what an unbelievable day. Good job, dude. Congrats.
heck yeah, dude.
So are you ready for class?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Ever since I woke up.
Yeah, that was probably the most fun part of your day, right?
Was when I walked out of the woods and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be late to class, so I'll have to go.
Yeah, I figured that was your favorite part. Right. Have fun in class, buddy.
Do some more bird stuff later.
Yeah. Well, I just dropped Keith off at class. What a wild day of hunting. 2 birds, 1 day. That's something that's never happened to me in this area before. Me and buddies have killed a couple in the same week, but never 2 in 1 day. And it's pretty funny that it was the worst weather day at that. The rest of the week is looking pretty good weather-wise, but either Keith, myself, or Ben will have a tag. I should be hunting with one of those guys the rest of the week. It's working out pretty well that we're gonna get to hunt together. But that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We had an awesome day on hunting. I know we enjoyed our day. But thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And if you liked it, give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching again, and we'll be back after him tomorrow.